All right, welcome back. All right, now I got a confession. I don't know how to tell time. So y'all was supposed to get a 20-minute break, not a 30-minute break, but hey, I didn't want to call you back, but you probably needed to get your little mind right. But I was like, gosh, why do I feel like I still got time to make a sandwich up in here? Because it was 30 minutes, not 20. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it and hopefully you got yourself some, get your mind right. The next part we're going into. Okay, so how y'all feeling? Y'all had a chance to kind of pull away, think about what I was saying. Y'all all right? Hopefully this is, let's just do a little check-in. Is it getting you to think, getting you to maybe ask more questions or more uncertainty? It might be stressing you out a little bit more, I'm sure. Because no way, shape, or how someone says it's making me more worried. Absolutely. Hey, I agree. I totally agree. Because we just don't know. And nobody will ever be able to think of every single thing of how this, how it's going to look when going back into the classrooms because we just obviously don't know. So check in with me. Have you guys been informed? I know Miss Julia's out there and maybe some other admin. Are you going to be returning to face-to-face? Is virtual an option? Hybrid, not an option? We don't know. Keisha, taking it day by day. Talk to me. Anybody? What are you hearing? Let me check my chat, check my chat, check my chat. As of right now, it stands that you guys are going virtual. Thumbs up? Is that what we're doing for right now? Okay, yes, virtual. Okay, nice. Now I'm just asking, are we looking, do we have a start date? Are you guys going to try to do September 8th with most of the schools, or you don't know just yet? September 9th, okay. Oh, that's right. September 8th is thing. Okay. September 9th. Wonderful. Someone says, hey, I'm done stressing. I'm just about to do what I have to do for the children and families. Absolutely. I'm telling you, if we pick this thing apart, we'll be here until next week and we still will not know. So yes, that's a good attitude to have. Excellent, excellent. So September 9th, we're looking at going virtual. Okay, nice. Now, any parents out there, are you sending your children back face to face? Give me thumbs up, thumbs down, or I have no clue. Got some no's in the chat. Okay. And regardless of what your decision is, as long as it's the best decision for you and your families, and hey, that's all we can do right now. Okay. And then I guess it depends on your school districts. Ours down here are doing a virtual option, of course, and a hybrid part-time option as well. However, my daughter got into the CD program at the school, which I'm totally happy. Yay, yay, yay. But the CD, or the Child Development Program here for my district, which is Dorchester District 2, will only be offering face-to-face instruction for that age group, so which is technically pre-K 4. They're not giving a virtual option or a hybrid option. It's either in face or it's not at all, which I can understand for that particular age group. She probably won't be going, but I do understand on how hard it is. Virtual preschool is not ideal, but it's just kind of where we are. Okay, so a lot of people say Buford. Oh, Buford is only doing virtual. Wow, 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 wow. Not down here. They're giving both options. Okay, excellent. Jasper is only doing virtual as well. Like I said, my big ones is Dorchester 2 and Charleston County and a little bit of Berkeley. Charleston County right now is doing virtual face-to-face as well as Dorchester District 2. However, because of the numbers, it looks like we're doing the same thing you guys are doing. September 8th or 9th, it will start out virtual. Someone says Hampton County is doing both because of the numbers. Again, I think that will change because we don't know. We have Labor Day weekend coming up. Sunshine, that equals beach and hamburgers for us. So we just don't know how this thing is going to happen. All right. So again, social distancing does not mean emotional distancing, okay? There's still ways that we can connect. As you guys know, whether you wanted to or not, you've become more tech savvy because again, right now, that's the means of how we can connect in a way that's going to be safe for everyone, but not emotional distancing. Establishing relationships and teacher-child interactions is still there. So you guys say it. Children want to do exactly that. They want to hug, they want to touch, they want to jump, they want to high five, they want to wrestle. They want to touch each other. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of CEPHL, which is the pyramid model, people. This is a resource that they recently put out, and I can actually send this to you guys, or I'll make sure Miss Julia gets it and she can send it out to you. This is ways that children can greet each other and still kind of remain in social distancing. So again, this is an excellent tool that you can educate, even early Head Start. As long as you're using visual cues, you can definitely use that with any age group of the children. So you got to smile, you can put your hands on your heart, you can give an air hug. I've seen air kisses, superhero salute. I think that's my favorite one. Thumbs up, blow a kiss, elbow bump, fist bump. You could wave. I put this out on a Head Start group that I follow on Facebook. And the first thing they said, you guys know, why are we encouraging children to blow a kiss in the midst of COVID? You're right. So whatever works for you and whatever your comfort level is. But as you know, especially our infants and toddlers, that's the first thing they say, blow kisses to mommy. So you use it how it's best for you. But again, this is a resource that has just came out as well. I love that it's real children. And of course, I love that it's cultural, multicultural as well. All right, classroom environments and learning activities. Remind me, which I should know this, are we still doing creative curriculum down there at Beaufort, or has something changed? Creative curriculum, yay, nay? Yes, all right, thought so. Creative curriculum, executing activities, teachers and teachers' assistants. Now remind me, are we teacher, co-teacher, teacher assistant, lead? What's the setup down there? Help me out. Someone says yes, I don't know. Yes. Early is teacher to teacher, beautiful, thank you. What about Head Start? Are we co-teacher? Or are we lead and assistant teacher? Teacher to teacher. Okay, so primary caregiving groups, trying to separate children, trying to maintain some space in between. It's a possibility that whether you're teacher, co-teacher, lead, assistant, or substitute, that you now might have the primary responsibility over a group of children based on the setup and based on the requirement. Teacher for Head Start. Okay, so we're good. So creative curriculum already has it laid out for you. The wonderful creative curriculum that you spent thousands, and I mean thousands of dollars on, already has a curriculum and everything as far as executing the activities laid out for you. What you do is basically observe your children and you individualize based on what they're given. Now, if you want to take all of the brain power out of planning activities, you can follow creative curriculum, the guides, the ball study, the clothing study to the T, and not have to put an ounce of extra energy into that. But we all know we don't want to take the creativity away from you as teachers, and we also want to individualize with children and meet them where they are. So again, still look at the opportunity of planning together. I will say this, because you guys have already made up in your mind that you have started, you're going to start virtually, take your same framework now and begin to build your virtual library. Use it exactly based on your curriculum. Some of you have done the ball study more than you ever could imagine. You don't want to hear nothing else about the tree study because you hear it in your sleep. Now begin to think how you can take those same activities that have worked in the past and how you can alter them now to maybe put that to be able to deliver that virtually, okay? Get with your co-teachers, get with your staff. You guys know who your tech people are. Begin to now formulate some type of working groups where you can say, you know what, we are going to hammer out this ball study for Head Start children, and we are going to come up with 50 activities that any teacher will be able to do and administer that virtually. Same thing with early Head Start. As you guys know, a lot of your learning there is basically within routines. So now begin to think of the routines that are going to happen every single day, whether they're at their classroom or they're home with their mama or their grandmama. How can we now embed learning, which we do all the time in the classroom, and how we can make that now virtually? Now, the thing about virtual learning is you'll be good if you get them for 20 minutes, 25. If you got them for more than 30, then you are a superstar of the day. So keep that in mind, that because it's not hands-on, that their attention span might be a little bit less. So creative curriculum, executing the activities, teacher and teacher assistant, it all goes the same. Observing children, that may have to go in some type of virtual format. And that could just basically say, hey, we are going to do puzzles. So everybody break out your puzzle and you allow the children to explore the puzzle. And as you as the observer on the other side, you're literally just writing notes of what Riley's doing in the top right corner, what Johnny's doing in the bottom left corner. He's manipulating the materials. He's matching the colors together. He said, "Ooh, I did it." Those types of things now that you're going to have to basically do virtually, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult. But again, it'll give you some type of data. We're still aligning things with the Head Start Early Learning Framework. As you guys know, this is a birth to 5 approach. It is the exact same thing. They break it down for infants and toddlers, and they also break it down for the preschooler domains. Creative curriculum is already aligned with this, so you don't have to do any extra legwork or the headache. The research is out of that. You're using creative curriculum, you're using the Early Head Start Learning Outcomes Framework. Now, your activity plans may elaborate a little bit more on this, but again, you're still in line with everything that you're doing right now. You could also do maybe learning groups for, those teachers that are really, really awesome in social and emotional development for infants and toddlers. Come together and say, hey, you know what? These are going to be 50 awesome activities that already hits on social and emotional development for infants and toddlers that anybody can do at any particular time, how it looks in the classroom and also how it looks in virtually. Because it sounds like virtual is going to be a thing for now on. Hopefully not, but we just never know. Social and emotional development. I'm going to hit on this because you guys know the root of our curriculum is based on social and emotional development. Yes, we want them to be able to write, and yes, we want them to be able to wave goodbye and not cry at drop off and all those other wonderful things. But everything now is rooted in social and emotional development. Even more so, because remember we talked about the range of emotions that we've been through, just trying to prepare to actually go back into the classroom. Our kiddos are going through the exact same thing, but we are well over 6 months and 4 years old and have some idea of hopefully how to take this all in and be able to still operate at a level of where it's acceptable, but our kiddos may or may not have that, okay? So it's going to be pretty tough. Like you said, some are going to be excited, some are going to be fearful. Can you imagine the mom that her first time in childcare now is going to be at your early Head Start program as a brand new mom dropping off her baby possibly at the curb because she can't walk into the classroom? That is going to be a lot on her, a lot on you as the teacher, and a lot on our kiddos for sure. So keep that in mind.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
You might find yourself in this.
I usually don't even come to the campus, so I know my whole mouth is a mess, and I was like, "Who does
So just be mindful of that.
Yeah, it has an infection around the root.
Make sure you mute your phones. We don't want to hear your important conversation. You might be talking about some personal things. So again, social emotional development, hit it hard. Look for it. Again, just imagine coming to school and everything is fine and dandy, and I just got used to coming into your classroom without crying, and then the program closed for 2 weeks because of COVID-19. It's a possibility that we're going to be in the first day of school mode throughout this entire year. Going from in-face to virtual, going to face-to-face for 2 weeks, virtual for the rest of the year. We have no idea which direction that we may be coming from. So again, we have to be prepared as well. So hit this area of development really, really hard. And to be honest with you, because of our circumstances and how we're going to be set up going forward, some of these areas of development are not going to be as easily assessed because we don't necessarily have children among us. They still can be, and it may not be as effective, but again, because of our setup, it may kind of pose a little bit of hindrances. Head Start standards have not changed, whether you use ASQ or DAO4 or Brigance or whatever developmental screening that you are using, it is still a requirement. They are not giving us any slack on whether or not we have to do assessments. So as of right now, we do have to do them. It's still within the time frame. Again, if you use ages and stages, that is a parent questionnaire, so it's usually parent friendly. However, other developmental assessments like the DAO4, if you're using those types of assessments, as you know, that has to be done from someone from the program or from the teacher. So begin to think of ways of how that's going to look. Begin to think of ways if you had to administer that virtually, what would need to happen, what would the parents need to be doing, or what the adult needs to be doing or interacting on that particular end. There are some programs that I work for that have ASQ and DAO4 kits already ready to go. So again, if I know I'm going to be doing the DAO4 on Riley this afternoon at 2 o'clock, whatever the materials I already know ahead of time as a parent, so we can begin to prepare for that. So again, that's still up in there, hasn't changed, and that's what we're looking at doing. Now, again, social and emotional development, continue to hit on this and hit on this really, really hard. This is another resource from the pyramid folks, our Cephal folks, talking about emotions or talking about feelings. How does it look? What are we dealing with? Again, this is probably going to be a vein that you're going to have to remain in consistently in order to get those children comfortable, in order to get them able to even trust you or the environment. Not that they don't necessarily like you, but they don't necessarily know what's to be expected. Children thrive off of routines. And right now, we don't really have one, or how it's going to look. Eventually, things will even out. But again, expect to be in first day of school mode for some time. Classroom environments and classroom activities. Now, we don't want to take play out of the equation. But now help me and tell me, what are you thinking as far as how your classrooms physically are supposed to look? Are you looking at eliminating certain learning centers? Are you looking at eliminating sensory play or water play? Are you looking at shutting down the dramatic play center because you know they're going to be trying on clothes? What exactly are you guys looking at, or what exactly do you have questions about when it comes to activity centers? Okay, someone says, Ain't nothing I can do about it.
Okay. That's an issue. It's unmuted, so when she do talk to the way.
Hey y'all, I'm back. My bad. I am not sure what happened there. It is totally a Monday today. All right. Where's my chat? Someone told me. Okay, I lost all of my chats before that, but is it safe to say someone chimed in and said sand and water will be eliminated, not used at all? Is that correct? Yes. Okay, mute your mics. It's background noise. Okay, so no sand and water at all, never, ever, even if it's individualized. We're saying no way, Jose. Is that what we're saying? Okay. All right. Super sad. That makes me sad. However, I definitely understand why. If you want to revisit, correct, and modified dramatic play, modified, I'm assuming not as many materials out. So it's not so much stuff because we all know that's a hot center everybody goes to. So let's talk about sand and water. I definitely understand you eliminating it. If you decide to do it, you could individualize it, okay? Especially early Head Start. I've seen it done with pie pans or little bins. You can do that. You can see these bins at the bottom of the screen. It's individualized. I would actually spread them apart, but that wasn't my picture. So you could actually individualize it. You don't necessarily have to eliminate it. If you bring it back or reconsider, remember, children should have always been washing their hands before and after water play, okay? So even if you try to limit the amount of people using the water bin, or even if you dump it after each use and have to sanitize it, I totally understand that. However, whether you use it or not, make sure children wash their hands before and after play, okay? All right, let's see. Someone said you can do water play 1 to 2 students for Head Start. Okay, dump the water, sanitize the bin, absolutely. Right, not the actual, someone says not, Miss Julie says not the actual tables, but there will still be sand, they'll still have the experiences, which is wonderful. So they can still have sensory experiences without the big old table. I got you. Regardless, hand washing before and after. I would consider limiting the number of children as well. And then we may have to go into that vein of actually a choice board. Where are you going today? I'm going to the sand table. Okay, well, you know, there's only one person in the sand. And so today's your day. And you can actually rotate it throughout the week in order for children to still get those experiences. What about blocks? I've even heard people saying we're taking out the blocks. Now, as a teacher, I would have been glad to hear about all them unit blocks and them Legos leaving, but that's just me. What are we doing with the blocks? Are they staying? Are we individualizing block bins, or we're just going to let the children have at it and stay behind them, have our mouthing buckets to where we can pick up the blocks if they're contaminated and throw it in a bucket? However you do it is totally fine. Just make sure you have enough blocks for at least a child to build with if you decide to minimize them as well. I think it's in the ITERs or the ECHRs where it talks about at least 10 types of one particular block, because it's hard to build a bridge with just 3 little Legos, okay? But this is another thing that I'm also seeing folks individualize and only maybe have 2 Lego bins of 20 Legos a piece. But again, the Lego area, just like the sand area, is now a choice that you make for the choice board. And yes, I'll bring it back out after we get up from nap, but I have multiple bins that I'm not necessarily cleaning every 5 minutes or feel the need to clean, okay? Modified dramatic play, this was also another one that they wanted to X. Of course, this is my favorite center. Again, just be mindful, children are going to want to dress up. If you're gonna have the center, you can limit the amount of children in there, you can limit the amount of clothing in there. I have one Head Start program that said that they were taking it out completely, which again, just broke my little heart. So I told them to try to incorporate. in some type of activities throughout the day, okay?
I'm
So
making-
let's just say we're doing community helpers, which we're always going to do at least one time. So during this particular week, you're going to be the fireman, you're going to be the doctor, you're going to be the veterinarian, you're going to be the chef. And that is your assigned costume for that particular activity. And then we switch for the next day, or we switch for the next week. So again, the center may look a little bit different, but just like Miss Julia said, they're still getting the experiences that comes along with it. Okay, so again, please, 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 please look to individualize or look to modify. But again, if you do pull something completely out, I totally understand why, but also begin to think of creative ways that you still can use those opportunities or those experiences and still be safe. All right, so how do you feel today? Again, social and emotional development and social and emotional activities. Even with our early Head Start, there's nothing wrong with starting to give them the vocabulary of how they're feeling. Again, this is a new resource right here coming out from our pyramid folks from CEFL. Again, it has children with a variety of faces. It's a good way to introduce vocabulary. It's very multicultural. The portrayals are very positive, even though some of the sad, nervous, and frustrated faces, it's something that children can relate to. You could also have them do this. This is also an awesome activity to do virtually, where you can actually spin the wheel and have them actually make the actual face of how they're feeling at that particular day. The one on the right, again, this is a little bit more individualized. This is something that you can have in a child's cubby to basically say, hey, how are you feeling? I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry. They have emojis, which is just the new thing, but you could also use real faces as well. You could actually cut the pieces off of the wheel to actually use those faces as well. Again, hone into that social and emotional development because it's going to be there. Activity planning, this is what I was talking about. Community helper activities using your dramatic play. A helper of the day could also be decked out in a certain costume. You have your studies, which is clothing studies, your art projects. Remember, individualize as much as possible. Of course, you're going to clean up after every use. Incorporate your kids. You're not going to be able to police the classroom, or it's going to become a no, stop, don't. So use them. Just like we have the person that cuts the light out, it's our electrician. The person that feeds the fish is our veterinarian for the day. Come up with a germ busters or a safety patrol or you're gonna have to educate these kids so that they can support you in making your classroom safe. Hopefully they know about the virus, or they know about why I have to wear a mask or why I don't want to wear the mask. They're not just coming into you cold, and hopefully they're being exposed to that now, but begin to equip them so they can actually help you minimize any type of unsafe practices that may be going on in the classroom. Activity planning, we already talked about that. Bins, limiting block bins, individual bins, choice boards now, saying where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do when I go there. Virtual learning, back to you. How did it go? March 16th, I told y'all that was a magic day. School shut down. What in the world are we going to do? So how did virtual learning go? Who wants to talk? Who wants to come off their mic? Anybody? They're like, no, don't set us up, Keisha. All right, well, hit me in the chat. How did it go? Loved it? Hated it? Please don't make us do it again. And virtual learning doesn't have to be a full lesson. It could be reaching out to parents once a week. What kind of way did you stay in contact with your parents, I should say? Anybody? Did y'all do any virtual learning? Y'all don't get quiet on me. We almost done. Someone says they really liked it. It's all about staying in touch. Absolutely. Maintaining connections versus what are you literally learning, okay? Some people say, okay, it was okay. Parents did respond sometimes to my text, but did not post to TSG. Okay. And that's understandable as well. Communication is the key. Okay. Short activities and phone calls. Do you feel now better equipped going into virtual learning now that you've had a time to kind of do it and reassess? Do you feel more comfortable? Someone says a little bit, some.
A little.
A little, okay. We sent activities through TSG and pictures and videos. Nice. It was okay. Would have been better if we could have had more parent contact. Yeah, absolutely. Great experience. Learned new things. Yes, whether we wanted to or not. We learned a lot. Okay. Great experience. Yes, the contact is really the big thing, because just like we're adjusting to school being out and kiddos being home, parents had to adjust to that as well, and that could be a little crazy. Lots of phone calls, emails. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful.
FaceTime as well. Chat.
FaceTime. Okay. Phone calls, emails. Made a few visits. Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
We did Zooming.
You did Zoom calls. Okay. How did Zoom work? Zoom. A lot of people. I'm getting a lot of negative feedback with Zoom. Have you guys considered Google Classroom or Google Meets? Or is your avenue going to be Zoom for the
But when we did the parents contact, it went well for those parents that, you know, you're gonna have some that not fully engaged. So for the ones that it worked out perfect. We got to see the kids, we talked to the kids and everything.
Good. I know they're excited to see you for sure. On the computer or on the phone. Good. Someone said Facebook Messenger, calls, TSG. Yeah, we got to use technology for sure. I've seen programs with Facebook pages. I've seen programs with YouTube channels. I've seen teachers with personal YouTube channels, Instagram pages. All those things definitely we're going to have to use to our advantage. Home visit. Will they be conducted, and will they be conducted virtually? Is that some background noise, or is that me? It might be me. No. Home visits. Are we going to do them? Have we done them? How will it look? I think that might be me. I'm new, but we did Zoom every day. Okay. All right. Well, consider home visits. Consider home visits, how that's going to look. Consider teacher conferences, how they may have to look. Like I said, the markers and the requirements have not disappeared. So we're looking for parent conferences. We're looking for home visits, or some documentation that an attempt was made and why it did not go through is totally fine. I have 3 separate instances where I tried to call Miss McLean and we have received no answer. The family advocate has been to the home on these particular dates. It's not saying it's not going to work, but if it doesn't, have your documentation, continue to try to make contact, but that's what's going to back us up in this next phase of what we're doing. Again, virtual library. Again, I encourage you to get with your techie folks, your folks that love doing this type of things. Brainstorm ideas now. Begin to build a virtual library. Someone said I didn't like it at first, but I got used to it. For the most part, the families were engaged. Helping children complete activities and lessons is not optional, and that communication also are not optional. Well, it sounds like absolutely, if we're going to do virtual, there has to be some expectations laid, like showing up on time. Absolutely. So definitely get with your admin to see if any type of policies and procedures can be built to support that. Again, virtual learning, try now to incorporate a virtual library. You guys know you're going to read Hungry Caterpillar and all those other famous Brown Bear, you guys know the ones we read. There's nothing wrong with now starting to build a virtual storybook library, okay? It's nothing like them being able to see their teacher read to them at a time where they can't necessarily get to the classroom. So your teaching team, begin to work at that. It's a 5-minute snippet. You guys know, hey, we can send it over my phone, we can upload it, and that can also be a part of our activity planning as well. You guys remember when COVID-19, it was like everybody, their mama, their grandmama, and their second cousins was reading to children. Do y'all remember that? Everybody was reading to kids, which was wonderful. They even brought back Lamar Burton from Reading Rainbow. I guess they needed to bring him back to show some folks how to do it. But again, that could be you. You have the technology, you know their favorite stories, you know the stories that complement the activities and the lessons that you're going to do. So again, begin to think about how you can build that library as well. Our basic things that we do every single day, colors, numbers, shapes, ABCs, though you know what the learning standard says, you know what the Head Start performance standard says and what the outcome standard says, and you know what the South Carolina early learning standards say about what infants do and what toddlers do. You already got the standards, so go ahead and begin to gear your activities toward that. Absolutely, you can do that. And then of course the digital divide. Talk to me a little bit now about how this works. I know we have some rural areas out there, well, everywhere. All this technology is nice, Keisha, but you have to have the means to be able to do it. One thing our state superintendent of education said in one of her briefings when they were talking about go virtual and virtual learning and how it went well and how it did not, was that it made it more visible, the digital divide across South Carolina, meaning the lack of children or the lack of homes that didn't have internet at all or a consistent internet connection. It also talked about the lack of devices. I mean, we would like to think that everybody has a cell phone, and nowadays it's kind of hard to find somebody with a flip phone, but some people have them. My dad just got a smartphone, trust me. So again, you have to have the materials and the electronics per se to be able to make this thing happen. I know our particular school districts and a lot of school districts across South Carolina begin to have their buses go out into those areas and serve as a mobile hotspot. Has this been something that you guys thought about? What were your issues? Did you have any technology issues or internet issues or contact issues this last go around that maybe needs to be addressed? Any talks about hotspots, internet? There are some programs who are purchasing devices. I know some programs that are purchasing tablets and iPads and mobile hotspots and all these other wonderful things. And that's going to be a tracking nightmare, but hey, it is what it is. Again, so take that into consideration when you're not able to make contact as well. My mom, I would think, has a really nice internet package. Of course, she has three of my nieces and nephews that live there, high school. Well, they're all in high school now. She has a wonderful connection, and they probably have a device apiece, but nobody was ready for everybody in America to be on the same internet wave at one particular time. So again, those are the things that we have to keep in mind when we're talking about digital, virtual. You got to have it. Internet, hotspots, computers, tablets, all those wonderful things. I'm pretty sure there's already been some conversation going back and forth about how that's going to look. Your admin has chimed in and says we are investing in purchasing devices for loaning out. Wonderful. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be in some form of a tablet or laptop or something like that. Individualized with my families who didn't have access to the internet with learning packets. We kept in contact by phone. Absolutely. Hopefully, everything that we do virtual can also convert to some type of hard copy, or we can go old school, which is probably still the most effective way to communicate other than face-to-face, is actually by picking up the telephone. So kudos to you who just sent that comment in. Excellent. And we're going to close on this last migraine topic of the day. All right, wearing masks. As you guys know, the CDC has advised that no one 2 or under wears a face mask. It is recommended, let me say that, that's safe, that anybody over the age of 3 or whatever, not, should wear a face mask, including children and including adults. As you guys know, there's been a lot of I guess, mandates or laws or executive orders put into place that now when you go out, I know all over my county, finally, masks are to be worn and to be enforced. Do I go in Walmart and somebody's not in a mask? Of course, every single day. So who knows? My question to you is, when you go out, do you wear a mask? And you can, yes, no, just think about it and you don't have to share. And what are your reasons that you wear a mask? Okay. It also says that someone that has any type of respiratory issues or breathing difficulties, it's recommended that they do not wear a mask. Absolutely, totally agree with that as well. Face coverings are also possible choking or strangulation hazards to children as well. So we have to be mindful of that. I don't know about y'all, but my lungs are well over the age of 3, and I probably have a whole mask collection because I'm trying to find the best one that works for me. But when you kick this sun in, and my anxiety I already have because I got to run into Walmart and get some strawberries and some hamburger meat, the anxiety level in itself makes it difficult to breathe in that thing. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. So again, to minimize the exposure of COVID, it's suggesting that we wear masks. However, not everybody can wear one, okay? Wearing cloth face covering causes your child to touch their face more frequently than if they were not, because what are we doing? Pulling it down, trying to breathe, move it across. Ooh, let me go down this aisle and get some air or something, okay? And again, children or adults with severe cognitive or respiratory impairments may have a hard time tolerating a cloth face mask or covering. I have a cousin who's about 8 and she has Down syndrome. And my aunt was asking me the other day, she doesn't want to keep her mask on. She doesn't want to have anything to do with masks. And my idea was, of course, try to get her to wear it a little bit around the house. You guys begin to start wearing it as well. And then take some of her doll babies and have her begin to put the mask on them, just to kind of let her know that, hey, this is kind of what we're looking at. So the question of the hour: will children be required to wear masks in your program? And if not, would you feel more comfortable if let's do that one. Would you be more comfortable if children are able to medically wear a mask? Would you feel more comfortable if they did? Let's see. Someone says asthma, can't tolerate it. I got a few yeses, and you would prefer them to wear a mask. Okay. Got a lot of yeses. Okay. Anybody doesn't really faze them if the children do not wear masks? Okay. Yes, but it will be difficult. You better say that again. Yes. Okay. What is your preference? Do you think that the teachers as well as the parents, if they come into the building, should be wearing a mask? Got some yeses. Okay. Some yeses. It'll be a task. Yes, ma'am. It'll be a big one. Okay. Absolutely, definitely, yes. It sounds like we got a good consensus here. It'll be challenging. I prefer it, but it's going to be challenging. Okay, has any final decisions been made? Will children at Buford Jasper, do we know, would they be required to wear masks that are physically able to? Yes, they need to wear one. Oh, my question, Ms. Shalonda, was, would you prefer the teachers to wear the mask as well as the children to wear a mask? And if not, you don't really care, it's not a big deal. Are we still working on that one, Miss Julia? No final say on the mask for kids? All right, there you have it. Children will be required to wear a mask. Unless it is deemed medically difficult or impossible, I think that everybody should wear a mask that's over the age of 2. All right, teachers. All right, the door has been kicked open, so let's just go ahead and walk through it. Who is going to be providing the mask and the face coverings for the children? Will it be the program or will it be the parents? Excellent, Mitchell. I plan to have a sanitation bag. Okay, definitely. All right, so the program will be providing masks for children, and I want to assume staff, right? Okay. When you're talking about masks, you also have to think about it as just anything else that was soiled or contaminated. So children may take them off, they may fall on the ground, they may share. I just had a vision. They have to take them off to eat with them. What are we going to do when we take them off? Are we going to throw them away? You're going to need multiple masks on hand throughout the day. That's just, it is what it is. I had another program that said the children will provide masks. However, the children can bring in their own face coverings as well as the staff. And that's totally fine. My comfort level is I would prefer to, as the adult, to bring in my own face covering. Now, just like these cuties right here, this Spider-Man mask and this Superman mask is a big deal right about now. And just like some of them, just like me, they're getting their collection. They got Frozen, they got Rapunzel, they got the Avengers. Y'all know. Masks are coming up in that classroom. Would we prefer to provide the mask and not allow them to bring their personal mask, because that way we can at least make sure it's clean or it's sanitized? That's something that you also want to look into. If they're bringing their mask in from home, do we know it's clean? Do we know when it was the last time it's been washed? That's the mask he has on every day. So again, it looks like the program will be able to do that. Now we're talking about bringing masks into the program, but also look at other personal items. Remember, we also, at one point, I don't know if you guys provide blankets, but there are some programs that allow children to bring in blankets or to bring in one comfort toy. That's also something that you may have to revisit, meaning that we will provide the blankets because we know where they came from and we know that they're washed every time it's soiled and all of that. So again, you want to consider that as well. Early Head Start, they bring everything but the kitchen sink in that diaper bag, and I have been guilty of that as well. So again, that's something that you may also want to look at as well. Maybe we don't necessarily need the whole diaper bag because we're already doing the diapers and the wipes and the milk and the formula and all of the food. So again, that may be something that you could eliminate as well. Again, each child has their own personal space, so just kind of be mindful of that as well, okay? Now, I'm assuming if the kiddos are wearing masks, the teachers are going to be wearing a mask as well. That is also going to be provided for the program. Same thing goes from you, which you're talking about being sanitized or being clean or having to change them out, throw them away, or get another mask as well. Or even just being able to come out and go in the corner and take the mask off and give yourself a little breather. I personally, I don't know how it's going to work, but I just ordered me a face shield to try to see if that makes things a little bit easier. So face shields are another option. I recently heard that if you have on a face shield that you also need to have on a mask, and then I've heard something different. Again, nobody really knows, to be honest with you. But it's something that I wanted to do, especially when talking to children or going into the classroom. I'm also in the market of trying to find me a clear mask or face covering that doesn't fog up, because the one I have gets a little foggy. Another way to be able to communicate with children as well as families. So imagine I'm learning how to communicate. I'm 18 months. I'm hearing words. I'm starting to repeat words even more so. The first line of really cognitive development is language development, the ability to be able to hear and then give the language back out. Now we have a mask over our face. So again, that is going to cause a little bit of hindrance when we're talking about speech, language, and communication as well, okay? So again, yes, someone says yes, both face shield and a mask as well. So if we gotta still put a mask on, it kind of still defeats the purpose of being able to see. I had a girlfriend who came out of the classroom. She's now with social services. She sent me something yesterday. It's like, girl, they say you're supposed to have something over your eyes. You're supposed to cover your eyes. I found these glasses. I said, look, I can't take no more. I got my little shield. I got my little mask collections. We just gonna have to make it work with that in addition to that. So it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to consider. But again, we want to always err on the side of caution, and we also want to be as safe as possible. And get this, no matter what we do and how safe we become, it doesn't necessarily mean that we were unsafe. It just could possibly mean that this was the day that, unfortunately, COVID-19 has decided to walk through our door for whatever reasons, okay? So good, 2 big questions. Now, do you guys got any more questions for me with masks before I move on? Making good time, good time. Looks like kids will be wearing them, teachers will be wearing them according to your management, and they will be provided. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Looks like Early Head Start is still looking into maybe eliminating diaper bags or eliminating some of the stuff that comes in with those diaper bags. Okay, what about blankets? Are they provided by your program, or do children bring those in or have been bringing those in? Looking in my chat. Somebody hit me up. Does the program provide blankets? Nap time blankets, I should say. They do bring them in. Okay. Okay. So just something to think about. If they do bring them in, just like they have in the past with anything else, any other personal item, you would try to keep them separate. You would encourage to send it home or bag it up when it's soiled, and hopefully require it to be fresh and clean when it comes back in. But we all know sometimes that works and sometimes that does not work at all. Okay. All right, measuring goals. Data is still required by the Office of Head Start. I was on a webinar and they said that the Head Start performance have not changed. Okay, once again, thank you for being very general, but not more specific so we know what we have to do. Regardless of the fact that if the children are not in your classroom, we still have to measure goals, we still have to observe, and we still have to see with what we're doing or what we're not doing is still being effective. So this is gonna impact our community assessment, and that's everything from factories closing down and the amount of people living in the area may have changed. Okay, this is going to impact our self-assessment. Community assessment is every 5 years, so depending where you are in that cycle. Self-assessment is every year. So this is taking a self-assessment of what you're doing and measuring how it's working. As you guys know, some of you have been a part of that team in the past. Revisions may need to be made. One thing that will not change is the learning goals for our children based on what your curriculum says, based on what the early learning standard says, which is all aligned with the Head Start learning outcomes framework. So you should be good. What may change though now is the delivery of that. So you have a school readiness goal probably in each area of development. Under language, you may get more specific and have a school readiness goals that now address maybe English second language learners. Now we may need to look at maybe revising a goal or finding some type of way to now incorporate this virtual piece and how to measure that, okay? She said herself, devices are gonna be provided for children. Now they're gonna have to be able to do some type of sit yourself down and get on this device and learn how to communicate and interact back and forth. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. My daughter does speech twice a week virtually. And at first, I mean, we was killing the game. Girlfriend was on it. She sat, she spoke up, she was clear. I really could take her out of speech. I kept her in there to keep some type of normalcy at home. But now she's not interested. She's very comfortable with her therapist, so much so that she told her the other day, my throat is hurting, I gotta go get some water. Oh, girl, you know, I had to do one of them looks. But it's virtual, and there's not really much, and even her therapist says that this just is not as effective to her. If you would have seen her at the center in her classroom, I mean, she's seated, she's excited, she's engaged, but this, like we said earlier, this virtual thing is draining. And it's only 30 minutes. And when I tell you that it's either the longest or the shortest 30 minutes of my week, because it just depends on which way the wind blows. So again, school readiness goals may change. Your parent, family, community goals may change. Again, the outcomes are still going to be the same, but just like someone said, communicating and keeping in contact with them and having to physically go check on them, all of that now has taken a different level, especially for our family advocates. I don't think they ever saw this coming. Nobody did. But it's their level of interaction in the program now of really, really, really keeping track of children and families when we don't see them has definitely gone to another level. So it's not that the data is going to be all positive, but we need it in order to make informed decisions for the upcoming year or next year. And you know, it wouldn't be me if I didn't do what I believe I'm here to do as the class person, the who, the what, the where, the when, and why of class. I'm not going to bore you, but according to the Office of Head Start, we haven't had any guidance that if you're due for a class review, which I cannot remember you guys' cycle, they did not say that they're not going to do it. Now, again, nobody asked me. However, if it was up to me, this is something that I would put on pause. Because as you guys know, class is an assessment tool. We walk into your classroom, you guys have seen this slide in your sleep, and we basically say you got 15 to 20 minutes to make all of this happen. I go across the country and I preach and I preach and I preach that the climate of the classroom can change at a moment's notice. Lunch being late, child coming in late, power going out, fire drill, you guys know it. Anything can happen in that classroom at a moment's notice that could change the whole dynamics of the classroom. I don't care how long you've been teaching and how awesome you are, and you'll still be awesome. Anything can change. And so now just think of just 5 of the changing factors that we've talked about for the last 2 or 3 hours on how it's going to have a direct effect on the climate of the classroom. A child in a mask, come on now. Teacher in a mask, limited activity centers, individualized blocks, having to maybe sanitize and disinfect who knows how many times a day. Parents not being able to walk their children to the classroom during the day. It sounds like they're not going to be able to bring their favorite stuffed animal anymore. Those things in itself is going to change the climate of every classroom. I already told you, you're going to be in first day of school mode for a long time. And so I think it would just be outright disrespectful for the Office of Head Start to still expect all of these indicators to be met in 20 minutes on how they've made the tool to be. But now hear what I'm saying. Regardless of if you got a mask on or not, supporting children emotionally in the classroom is still our foundation, kind of like with play. Regardless if they're 6 feet apart in 2 separate groups of 6, having clear behavior expectations, being present, being consistent is still the foundation of what we do. And then, of course, instructional support. This one is definitely going to be a headline item, especially if now we have to go from in-person instruction and measuring how effective the teacher is in the classroom. So now how effective the teacher is virtually sounds a little impossible. However, but the components of being able to providing quality of feedback for sure, asking questions, open-ended questions, higher level thinking, analysis, the same check marks that you do when you're developing an activity, that is still the foundation. What I'm saying would be crazy and disrespectful if now they come and they expect that class scores, you know, that package piece need to look a certain way and interactions need to look a certain way. We're always going to be developmentally appropriate. Got that. We're always going to support our kids. We got that. But now the dynamics of the class tool, I think it's going to be a little hard to measure. However, that's just my soapbox. And once again, nobody asked the girl from Charleston anything about class. So of course, if I hear anything on my end, I'm pretty sure if your leadership hears anything on their end, and if you are due for a class observation, I'm pretty sure we'll be getting some more details on how that's going to look. I will be totally shocked if they pop into a program and talk about doing observations. However, I do want to mention this. There are talks in a lot of my Head Start programs here in South Carolina, and some have already been doing this, having classroom observations, not necessarily class observations, with a little robot called Swivel. Has anybody heard of Swivel? I've seen Swivel in action. Swivel is actually a way, make a long story short, to where you can set up a camera / robot in the classroom to sit here. I'm the teacher, and I basically have on the key or the mic piece. I have on one, my co-teacher has on one, and everything that we do in the classroom, every move we make, how we're talking to the children, this now robot / device can actually capture that. So just like we were raving about technology, trust me, when there's a problem, somebody is going to try to find a way to solve it. And in the meantime, make some big old money off of it. So I'm telling you right, there are technology pieces out there that will still allow for virtual observations outside of our little, camera in the corner, that you're able to get some really, really intimate observations. Now, if the Office of Head Start comes with something like that, then yes, the package way of class and the expectations of how it needs to be delivered is probably still going to be on the table. And I think that's probably why they're not necessarily saying anything about it as of right now. But all in all, you want your environment to be a safe space. We love our kids. That has never been a question. We've always put safety first, but I think this virus is now showing us ways that maybe we thought we were okay in certain areas that were not necessarily as good as we thought we were. Someone says all the time, and I'm going back and forth with them, more people die from the flu every year. Okay, well now that's even more scary. Now that we have the flu and COVID, and you're right, if more people have died from the flu every year, then definitely our hand washing has been off, for sure. So again, just to be mindful, give you something else to think about. Emotional support is still there, even from our infants, toddlers, up into our preschool. It's rooted in relationships. It's rooted in the fact that you're enjoying what you do. The children enjoy their time with you, and you enjoy your time with the children, okay? It might be a little hard for me to measure that depending on how the classroom dynamics are. But again, only you know when and how much you're emotionally connecting to your children. So you be your own measuring stick and your own measuring tool. But again, that's one area that they would look into. Positive climate, negative climate, teacher sensitivity, regard for student perspective, it's all still there. Again, it's still an expectation. So as you're planning your activities, look at those indicators of class and see now how you can either meet those check marks in the in-between time by trying to maintain these particular areas that you may be measured on. How do you feel? This is a wonderful activity right here to basically blow emotional support out of the water. You're talking about feelings, you have vocabulary here. There's pictures of children that look different. All those things is a way that you can kind of meet those needs. And he is cutting my grass. I can't hear. Give me 1 second, y'all. Boy, I tell you, if this ain't a Monday, it's a Monday, I tell you. Again, emotional and relationships here. 6 feet apart, that's the rule of thumb. May not work, may be highly impossible, but the fact is you know what the expectations are. Let's do our best to see what we can do to try to make this work. Not necessarily to keep children 6 feet apart, but again, to keep them safe as possible. Again, we already talked about this. I'll email all of this to Miss Julia. Classroom organization, again, the standards are the same. The thing about class, though, is that it has to do with interactions in the classroom. It was never made to be viewed virtually. So that's another reason why I think we'll be out of the woodworks with class, at least for this particular year. However, I should be able to walk into any classroom, early, Head Start, it doesn't necessarily matter. And I should be able to pick up the pulse that the teacher's ready, the environment is ready, and the children are ready. And the only way that happens is if you came out of the gate laying the foundations of the expectations. However, you're going to be laying expectations more consistently throughout the year because of how things may unfold at a moment's notice. And then, of course, behavior management, productivity, instructional learning formats, all of that comes into that play of, is the teacher ready and is the classroom ready as well? Last but not least, instructional support. Lowest scoring domain probably will go down, especially if they're going to attempt to assess this any way, shape, or form this year, but we never know. But in the meantime, when you're talking with children and when you're developing activities, especially my early Head Start folks, determine what is the intention behind the conversation. Am I just asking questions to see if they can follow directions, to see if I get a response, whether that's a head nod or a blink or a child reaching up to me? What is the intention behind the conversations? Why are we doing this particular activity at this particular time? And then we push conversations, but also look at the fact of whose voice is dominating right now. And I'm really, really big on this. I still do this with my daughter. I'm so ready to jump in and get the answer, and I want to hear something. Or maybe I just like to hear myself talk, which I really don't. But now that she's talking more, it's easier for me to kind of fall back. But I know how it is to want a response out of a child and not necessarily get any type of verbalization. So again, even if it's dead silent, as long as you're talking, that information is still going in, and everybody's going to be bouncing off the walls when that information now goes in and eventually comes back out. Okay? Discussion. How you guys feeling? What's going on? I know it's getting late and you're tired. I know I'm tired. See, I'm singing, so you know I'm tired. Y'all all right? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? Keep moving, Keisha. We're almost done. Okay. Again, Office of Head Start class. They go hand in hand. Teach Stone. You guys got all that good stuff. All right. So in a nutshell, I know we wish we all could be on a beach sipping out of something out of a pineapple. That's just me. But again, you got this. You are born to do this. And that is meet the needs of children and families. How it looks may change, but don't doubt yourself. Safety first always. And if the fact, I used to always say, a good day, if nobody's wet and nobody's bleeding, we've survived. If a good day that, hey, everybody goes home and they're healthy and they return and they're able to go back home, then we are definitely winning in this particular season. Okay, so y'all got it. We're in this together, even if it's 6 feet apart. All right, questions, comments. I know you're tired, y'all hung with me. How y'all feeling? Are we ready to go? Keisha, don't be asking us no questions.
Great.
Who is that?
Keisha.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me know you're still out there. All right. Yes, we're in this together. Steal it. She says, I love that. I'm wonderful. Great job. All right, you guys said September 9th. I'll be praying for each and every one of y'all for sure. I mean that with all sincerity. Any questions, comment? Did I put my information? This is me. Hit me up if you need me. I'll send those resources out, but you can, feel free to call me or feel to text me or email me, follow me on Facebook, Back to Basics Educational Consulting. And I'll get you whatever you need. Whatever I got you is definitely yours as well. Someone says, how are you feeling? I don't know if they're talking about me, but I'm feeling okay. I'm a little concerned of how things are looking, more so because I have a 4-year-old. I'm just very fortunate that I got 1 more year to kindergarten, because I'm telling you, if we were going to kindergarten this year, I probably would have been in the corner somewhere rocking. I probably would have been losing it right about now. So I'm very fortunate for that. I'm also very blessed for her to be able to stay home with my mom and my parents. Got to keep them happy. grandparents, you are thebomb.com. So yeah, but I am, if you want my honest opinion of how I'm feeling, I'm really, really concerned about our field. I'm concerned about our teachers because, as you know, a lot of our teachers are seasoned in age. And this virus does not discriminate. It does not discriminate from the young, the old, race, or anything. So yes, please, please, please be careful. I will be doing the virtual thing, but I'm also looking at doing some changes on my end because there's no way I can do this every day, all day. So I'll be doing some changes as far as what my next steps and my next moves will be. But you guys know where to find me, and I'm always here to help. You folks have my information. Feel free to reach out, and I will do the same. Miss Julia, you got anything to say? Any announcements? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you was going.
Yeah. Okay. I'd just like to thank you for an awesome training, as always. I'm so glad that you were able to agree when I reached out to you. I know that the staff, certainly, I know they love to hear me, but I know they love to hear you as well. And I just want to share the wealth because they have a couple of more weeks with training from me.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I'm always here whenever you need me. So
yes. So we thank you so much. You confirmed some of the things that I had said earlier when I did the update to our procedures. So
good.
for some, they heard and kind of know. And then Frida Carter did our health and safety. So of course.
That's my girl. So I know y'all are airtight. Yes.
Yeah. So it's just been a good experience. Today is our final day of pre-service.
Oh,
so
good.
I certainly wanted to send them off with a good session where they were able to get some good practical information that they can use as we start. We're not sure exactly what we're doing yet. The districts are still changing. We're looking at kind of the hybrid distant learning as well as in person and then the virtual for some. So we will be meeting tomorrow to make some final decisions and get that information out to staff. So we're trying to communicate and keep everybody updated as quickly as we can, but everything is just fluid. It changes so quickly until, and we've worked hard all summer to develop a plan, but of course our districts did not, and then they sent the information out and now has sent us some scrambling. So that's kind of where we are.
Oh, that's right. Because you have a lot of classrooms in the schools. That's
right. Exactly. So, it's contingent on them and how much, what they're allowing us to do based on the decisions that they have made. So that's where we are with that. I'd just like to thank the staff for their participation this afternoon, for hanging in there during the session. I'm sure you got your email about what to do on tomorrow, and we'll be in touch with you by the end of the day tomorrow with what the rest of the week will look like.
all right.
So you are free to go.
Good. All right. Make sure you send me those ID numbers whenever you get an opportunity. And thank you, IT, for the jazz music. You was on it, DJ. Okay.
Right. So everyone, you need to email me your IDs if we do not have them on file. Get it to your center manager, and the center manager will make sure that I get it so I can shoot it to Keisha so that you can get credit for your session. This will be an easy one. So get your IDs to your center manager by this afternoon so that I can get it in the morning and get it sent in to Keisha. So you have a few minutes. You should be able to do that, and you're still on our time. How about that?
That's my cue.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all stay safe. Take care.
All righty, thank you. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch with some other trainings.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Y'all take care.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good afternoon.